This is Jack from tofluency.com, and in this video, I'm going to talk about 7 things that I found strange when I first came to the United States of America. Now, to give you a little bit of context, I am originally from England, but I've been living in the US since 2011. I absolutely love it here. The culture, the people, everything about this country to me is just fantastic. But there are certain things that I found strange when I first moved here. So I'm going to share those things in this video. And I'm also going to explain whether I still find these things strange or not. So stick around, let's go through these 7 things. And I would love to know your opinions about this too. So I've got a question for you at the end of this video. First one is free refills. And I first experienced this when I was traveling in 2007. And I can't remember what sports event I was watching, but I went to a sports bar in Washington, D.C. I think it was like ESPN Zone or something like that. And back then, I drank Diet Coke, so I ordered a Diet Coke. And it came with a lot of ice. Talk about that later. And I drank my Coke. And then the server just came over and just refilled it. And I didn't know why he did that. And I was in that weird place thinking, it must be free because he would have asked me otherwise. He would have asked, oh, do you want another Coke? And you have to pay for it. Or at least let me know that I have to pay for it. So he filled it up and I thought it must be free, but maybe it's not. So I decided to play it safe and just have 2 or 3 Cokes. And I thought, oh, I can pay for 2 or 3 Cokes. But I didn't go crazy thinking it was free. And then I got the check at the end and they only charged me for 1 Coke. So in America, when you get coffee and when you get soda, they give you free refills. Not always with coffee, but if you go to a restaurant and you get a coffee, then they're going to refill it for free. And if you go to a bar and get a Coke or a Pepsi or any other of the wonderful sodas here, then they are going to give you a free refill. So I found that incredibly strange at first. Now, I love it, especially the coffee part when you're having brunch on a Sunday morning, for example. And they said, do you want more coffee? Well, yeah, I do want more coffee. Thank you. The next one is seeing American flags everywhere. There are certain towns that you drive through and it just seems like every house has an American flag flying outside. Now, in the UK, this isn't very common unless the World Cup is on. So when the World Cup is on, you'll see the St. George's flag flying out of cars and houses. Now, people have very specific opinions on the people having flags flying in the UK. I won't go into that here. But it's not, you never just see a flagpole outside someone's house. And in fact, I can't think of another country that does this. But so this is why I found it really strange. You drive through towns and the American flag is outside nearly every house. And yeah, I found it strange at first, but I love it. America is a fantastic country and people are very patriotic about the ideals. And I love that. I think it's a great thing to fly the flag. So yeah, strange at first, but I love it. The next one is a very common thing that people bring up when they first come to America, and it's tipping. Tipping in restaurants and bars, and it seems like everywhere these days. And it was strange at first, very confusing. You don't know when you should tip or how much you should tip. Do I give them just $1 for this beer or 20%? I'm in a coffee shop. Do they get tips? In Starbucks, do they get tips? And it's even just knowing that your bill is going to come with a little tip area on there that you have to fill in and then do some math to work out what the total is going to be. And it can be, I remember being quite flustered where I didn't feel very calm about it, where I had to think, okay, 20% of this equals that, and then do all the additions and all that type of stuff. I'd love it when restaurants give you, if you want to tip 20%, this is how much you should tip and this is your total. So you just fill it in and it's nice and easy. But yeah, tipping is a strange thing here. when you first get here. Because again, you don't know how much to tip. And I know it works the other way around too. I hear stories about Americans going to restaurants in Japan and trying to tip, and they just won't accept it. They will not accept a tip. Let me know if you have experienced that or know someone who has. But here it's the opposite. You don't have to tip, but you do have to tip, if that makes sense. You always tip when you go to a restaurant, especially, or to a bar. Again, strange at first, but now it just seems normal to me. Now, the next one I don't think you're going to find in many lists of strange things you'll encounter when you go to America. But I find this really strange. So if you've never been in a men's toilet before, or a men's restroom, there is a place where you pee standing up, and there's a place where you go to sit down on a regular toilet. And these regular toilets are in cubicles, but there's a gap right down each side of the door. And it's not a small gap. It's at least an inch. Sometimes it's 2 inches. And this means when you are sitting down on the toilet, people can just walk past and look inside. Just like that. So when they're at the sink washing their hands and they turn around, sometimes you make eye contact with people. It's very strange. Now, people have tried to explain it by saying, well, it allows you to know if the cubicle, I think that's the right word, is occupied or not. And I say, well, there's a great system where you lock the door in the cubicle, and on the outside it's red. And when you unlock it, it's green. So you know red means there's somebody in there, green means there's nobody in there. And then someone else said, oh, it's because in case people do illegal things in the cubicle, I hope it's called cubicle, in the cubicle. So then people can see if they're doing illegal things. I think, well, that's not a good reason to have that hole in the door. So by my tone, you can probably understand that I still find this very strange, that there is a big hole between the door and the wall in public restrooms. The next one is a little bit more obvious, and it's that they write the date in the wrong order here, where in the UK, and I think the rest of the world, you go day, month, year. Makes sense. Small, bigger, bigger still. But in the US, they'll put it month, day, year. So they'll go for the middle size number first, then the smallest, then the largest, if that makes sense. And I just don't understand the logic behind it. I remember getting into an argument once with somebody, a discussion, a friendly debate about this, and I just wasn't convinced. I just wasn't convinced about why this is done. I don't know where it comes from. Let me know where this comes from. Having said that, it seems normal to me now. So, yeah, it's funny the types of things that you think you're never going to get used to, but you actually do. Okay, the second to last one is this. Things have to be really cold here, or certain things have to be really cold. For example, if you go to the supermarket in the middle of summer and it's 100 degrees outside, the supermarket is absolutely freezing. Or if you go to the Mac store, the Apple store, or the cinema, it's freezing inside the cinema. So they don't just put the air conditioner on, the AC, and make it comfortable. They make it really cold. So I remember once my wife and I were going to the cinema in July, and she said, oh, I'm just going to grab a jacket or a sweatshirt, whatever it was. Cardigan, I think. I said, why do you want a cardigan? It's 90 degrees outside. She said, well, it's really cold inside the cinema. I was thinking, yeah, right, it'll be fine. But it was freezing. And then the other thing is that people like cold here is drinks. Lots of ice in everything. Ice. Beers have to be really cold. Nobody wants to drink a beer that's chilled. They want it to be really cold. Ice everywhere. Get water or soda. It's just full of ice. The whole glass is full of ice. And then a little bit of soda. That's why they give you free refills, I think. Because there's hardly any Coke or Pepsi that fits in there. because of all the ice. But yeah, everybody wants ice. Ice in everything. This is something I've not got used to. I put a little bit of ice in water every now and then. I'll have a beer that is room temperature, especially if it's a bitter or an IPA. I don't need things to be really cold. Now, this last one, I think it's become really popular, especially over the last 5-10 years. It might have been popular before, but I've seen it gain in popularity recently. And there comes a time in fall where it's mainly females, I have to say, go crazy over something. It's September and they start talking about this and they're crazy about it. And it's pumpkin spice. Now, I'm not going to lie, I'm not entirely sure what pumpkin spice exactly is or what's in it. So let's just have a quick look. Ingredients: cinnamon, ginger, cloves, and nutmeg. But yeah, it just seems like September and October and November, everything has to have pumpkin spice in it. Like cakes and especially coffee. Everyone promotes the pumpkin spice latte and people go crazy over it. I never understood this. I found this very, very strange. But doing some research, I also found that they put it in things like hand soap and Pringles and cereal. It is related to Halloween, pumpkin, Halloween, fall. All of this is related, but it just seems to take over everything. So all local businesses and places like Starbucks will advertise pumpkin spice everywhere because they know people go crazy over it. But maybe I'll try it this year. I've tried it once or twice. I don't really get it. Maybe this year it'll be normal to me, but at the moment, I still find it very strange. Okay, so those are the 7 things that I found strange when I first experienced the United States of America. Again, some of those things have become normal to me. And I'm going to make another video on words that I found strange at first and whether they still seem strange to me now. And America, it's just a fantastic country to be in. But whenever you have grown up somewhere, there are always going to be certain things that you find strange. So if you have lived here for a certain amount of time, or if you have been to America before, then let me know what you found strange about the culture or the food or anything really when you first visited. And if you are learning English, then get my book, The 5-Step Plan for English Fluency. There'll be a link to download this in the description. It's free to download, so go do that now. And while you're here, why not stick around and watch another video? I'll leave some on your screen now. Thank you for watching. Bye-bye.